I've been in the real estate sales business for 8 years, and becoming a real estate agent was the best and the scariest thing that I've ever done. And this is a story about how I got into real estate sales. So being a real estate agent was never something that I thought about doing. It never crossed my mind. My family has been in real estate for a long time, both as real estate salespeople and as real estate investors. But me becoming an agent, any of the kids in our family becoming a real estate agent was not talked about. It wasn't really pushed on us, and it wasn't something that had ever crossed my mind. When I was in high school and a few years after high school during university, I had a couple different businesses that I was kind of trying out, and they were pretty successful actually. I had a driveway ceiling business that I called Back to Black, and I went out every weekend. I would knock on doors and get people's business to put a fresh coat of tar over their driveway to make it nice and black again. And that was an incredible business. I went out every weekend, weeknights, and I would go out and knock on doors to try and get business. And in hindsight now, that was a great way for breaking the ice for me, for talking to people, to getting out into the public and really making sales on my own and also running my own schedule. And then I got into selling Christmas trees, which is kind of a funny story. But I got into that, actually, I was going on a trip. It was a 3-month trip to Southeast Asia. And part of that trip was for charity. There were a few charity events that I was gonna do while I was there. And Christmas time was coming up. There weren't many people in our town that were selling Christmas trees, and the ones that were, they were so expensive. So I went online, I found a Christmas tree farm, I went and visited them, and I bought 100 Christmas trees. I brought them home to our family house, set them all up on the front lawn, and started calling everyone that I know saying, hey, if you're buying a Christmas tree this year, come by, we'll be playing Christmas music, we'll have candy cane and hot chocolate, and I'm gonna have Christmas trees for sale in my front yard. It'll be a great time. And I sold the 100 Christmas trees in 3 weeks and made like $10,000, which was amazing. I ended up doing that the second, third, and fourth year. I did it 4 years in a row, and it just got bigger and bigger until the last year I sold 280 Christmas trees. We had a few left over, so we had an amazing bonfire. But it was a really good year. I actually, because of an overexposure to Christmas trees, am now allergic to them, so I can't have them in my house, which sucks. But through both of those businesses and through delivering pizza on the side, I saved up a bunch of money and was able to go out and buy my first real estate property. I was 18 years old. I chose where I was gonna go to school based on the real estate market at the time. And I looked at a couple different houses, and I found one that was $210,000 in the area where I was going to school, and it had 7 bedrooms in it. Each bedroom would rent for $425 to $450 a month. I ended up living there. I lived there for a year and a half, and I was living there. The expenses were covered, my mortgage payment was covered, and I was making $1,100 per month positive cash flow. And I looked around, some of my other friends were working full-time jobs while they were going to school, and they were making about $400 a week, $10 an hour times 40 hours a week, $400 a week. And after taxes, they were earning about the same money that I was earning, and I was living at the property. I was managing the rest of the rental rooms, and I was earning about $1,100 per month. So that was my introduction really into real estate, especially real estate investing. Once I told a few people that I was doing that, we had a family friend who also wanted to buy a rental property in that same town. So once he bought it, he called me and I became his property manager. And this was my first experience in managing clients, in talking to other people's tenants, right? Tenants that are people other than people that are gonna be renting my own place, and negotiating contracts with both the landlord and the tenant. So that was my first real taste of putting together somewhat of a real estate purchase or sale transaction, and having those types of conversations with those two people ended up being phenomenal training for me getting into the real estate business about a year later. By the time I finally dropped out of university, my brother actually, because he was working full-time, he wanted to buy a place also once he heard how my first house was going and how the management of the other house was going. So we did a joint venture. We partnered up, 50-50 partners, and purchased an 8-bedroom house. I think we paid $330 for that one. And on that one, my half, because it was a little bit nicer, that one had 8 bedrooms, the bedrooms were nicer, we could get $450 to $500 a month at that time per bedroom. So my half was about $750 a month. So now I was making $1,100, let's call it $750. I was making the $1,100, the $750 per month on the other house. I'm at $1,850 plus my management fee on the other house. I was making a pretty decent income for a student, and really it wasn't that much work. Once everything is set up and in place, the management, although students can be a little bit more management heavy, the management really wasn't that much work. And actually I think it helped that I was a student because I could relate with them a little bit more, even though they probably didn't respect me as much as they would have an older landlord, which most people were used to. It was a really good experience, and I really lucked out with good students, good tenants. I didn't have massive problems. Actually, there was one guy that was really bad, and he got in a fight with his girlfriend or something, and he called me. This was 2 years after I left the town and I got into selling real estate, and this was the final sort of straw that broke the camel's back for me to sell the houses. But got in a fight, the girlfriend came and lit the deck on fire, and I got a call from the local fire department. There was no real damage, it was just a little fire on the deck, but I drove up there, drove to the town, brought my for sale sign, stuck it in the lawn, and I'm like, that's it, I'm getting out of the real estate rental business and just gonna focus on the real estate sales. But from those two transactions, it really gave me some good capital to A, start my life, and B, to reinvest into my real estate sales business for that to really grow and flourish. So that was a blessing, and it gave me a good sort of foundation, the fundamentals of, you know, talking to people and contract negotiation and just different things like that. But I remember the day that I finally said, you know what, that's it, I'm getting out of school and I'm gonna get into the real estate sales business. I had an exam the next day and I wasn't ready for it at all. I had like missed a few classes and I didn't know the material that good. I wasn't excited about the stuff that I was learning, and I was so focused on coming home to see my friends on the weekends and on just running the small real estate business that I had created there that school was like my second, third, fourth focus. I was definitely not into what I was studying. So I had an exam the next day, but the next day after my exam, I was getting ready to meet someone else who wanted to become 50-50 joint venture partners, just the same way that I had done with my brother. So I was getting ready to meet them, and I had the properties that I was managing and that I owned, I had them all cleaned up. I had my cash flow statements all in order. I had all my bank statements proving what I was making. I had, you know, a bunch of different houses that I thought sort of fit that business model that we should go see. And I had everything set up for him to be able to have enough information to make a decision whether or not he wanted to invest with me that day. And by the time I got everything ready, I was so excited. It was like 12:30 at night. So I jump online, I'm getting ready, and I open up the notes that I had for my exam the next day, and I knew nothing. And I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna fail this exam for sure. Like, there's no way I'm gonna pass this exam. And I started to freak out. I called home and said, Mom, Dad, that's it, I'm dropping out of school. I think my calling is real estate. I'm gonna come home and sell real estate. That was January of 2015. I actually never met the person that wanted to invest with me. They canceled on me, which was fine anyway, because I had made that decision. I was packing up and I was going home, and home was about an hour and a half from that town. So I live in Georgetown, and that was in St. Catharines. So I was ready to go home. I packed up my stuff, went home, started writing my real estate license. I got my license in August of 2015, and it has been amazing. I think something that really helped me out was the fact that I was able to jump into it full time without really having much career experience or any career experience, which I think is a really tough thing, because when you make your own schedule, you either fall into two camps. You either fall into the camp where I can work wherever I want and you never work, because you can work whenever you want. Why would you work? Or you fall into the camp where you can work whenever you want, but you also have a really hard time taking time off, because there's always an opportunity to chase, there's always something to do, and there's always a way that you could be building your business, and it really makes it hard to take time off. So that wasn't something that I had sort of yet been trained on, the 9 to 5, take the weekends off and not work weeknights. So I think that was a blessing. And I wasn't used to a paycheck. I had the income from the properties. I could sell Christmas trees at Christmas time, and I could do driveway sealing if I wanted, but I wasn't used to going and working 9 to 5 and getting that steady paycheck. So I was never worried about not having a paycheck coming in right away, and I was used to having to get up, hustle, go after it to have that paycheck come in, where you have to go out and kill what you're gonna eat. So all those things combined really, and all of the experience that I had in already basically working in real estate, even though it was leases and even though it was property management and even though it was real estate investing, all of that experience combined with the door knocking and business skills that I got from driveway sealing really translated well into my sales career. So when I got my license in 2015, I dove right in. I joined my mother and father. They both sell real estate, and they taught me the ropes, and I'm so happy and so grateful that they were there to help me along in the journey, because there's so much to learn in this business, but it's all learnable. Or you could join a team. That's also an option that you have, is that you could join a team to learn from them. Even just growing up hearing the verbiage and the words and the conversation, the speech around real estate, I found really helped me. And then being full-time, because when you're a full-time real estate agent, you have nothing else to focus on. If you're just working during the day and then trying to do real estate at night, it's not getting your full attention, it's not getting your full energy, you're not really gonna spend much time learning. But if you get into this industry and you are forced to be full-time, I believe most people will make it happen. And for me, I was so excited just to kind of be into something that I was super excited about. When I was in school, I wasn't excited about school at all. Not one day, not one class, not one lecture, not one exam or test I was ever excited about. I hated the whole process. So I was extremely excited to be into something where it was every single day, every hour of the day. I was there by choice, and I was pumped to be there. And in the last 8 years, through hard work and dedication and just pushing on it, and also having a really good circle of people that I surround myself with, I have really great family, I have really great friends, and I've been able to meet people, and a lot of clients that I've dealt with or that I'm dealing with end up becoming friends, because the people that I'm meeting are very like-minded to me, I find, and they're very easy to connect with. So that's been a huge blessing. But in the last 8 years, we're now the top 1% of all of Canadian real estate teams with Royal LePage. And I'm also in the top 35 under the age of 35 in all of Canada, and that's been the last 4 years. I'm 29, so I've got 6 years left, or I guess 5 years left of being in the top 35 under 35 in all of Canada. So I want to keep pushing on that, and hopefully that's something that I can continue to get. But I'm excited about my business. It's been a wild ride. Our market's changed a lot in the last 6 months to a year, but this channel is going to be about me growing my business, the things that I'm going to be doing to grow my business, implementing and sharing the things that I've learned along the way so far in my past 8 years. And I want to document and create content around me growing the business and pushing it to the level that I want to take it to. I hope you can learn a few things through my journey. I hope I have a few things that are valuable that I can share from what I've been through already. And I hope that through sharing the things that I'm going to be going through, that you get some value from that as well. If you're a client watching this, or if you're somebody that you're thinking about working with me, I want you to know that I've been in this business for 8 years, and I've been dedicated and committed to it every single day. And if you're looking for an agent to be in your corner with you, for you, to have your back, someone who really understands the business, understands your needs, and can be there for you, that I would love to be your real estate agent. So thanks for watching this video, guys. Follow along, subscribe to the channel, and let's see how far we can push this business.